What is up, my brothers and sisters, my agents of respect? It's your boy Trey Johnson back with another episode of the No Disrespect But podcast. And man, I'm telling y'all today, it's a little bittersweet. It's a love-hate thing because I have to have an honest conversation with which I hate to have about a player that I love. And you know, before it comes out like I'm being disrespectful, let me just let you know this player, I love what he's thinking sometimes, and I love his approach. Rookie of the year, 7-time All-Star, 8-time All NBA. I mean, I think the NBA 75th anniversary team, I believe he's a member, so top 75 players in NBA history. But y'all, we gotta have an honest conversation about one Damian Lillard, Dollar Dame, Dame Dollar. You know what it is. And let me kind of set the stage for this conversation. Um, in a sense, the past, 2 or 3 years, these off seasons, we've kind of been trying to figure out, okay, is where's Portland going? Are they truly going to be a contender? If they're not going to be a contender, are they going to move Dame? Is Dame going to want to be moved? And more times than not over the past few years, Dame has kind of said, no, I want to stay loyal. I want to win a championship here for Portland. Portland Trailblazers front office, they'll tell you, we love Dame. We want him to retire a Trailblazer. We want him to bring a championship here, and we want to build a contender around him. Well, I'm here to tell you it's been almost 5 years. Actually, it's been about 5 years since a legit contender has been built around Damian Lillard. And that was the 2018-2019 Portland Trailblazers, who happened to finish third in the West, make it all the way to the Western Conference Finals, where, it was a legit roster, I guess you can say. You had the CJ McCollum, you had Big Nurk, um, Seth Curry, Mo Harkless, Miles Leonard, Gary Trent Jr. You had a young Anthony Simons who hadn't really come into his own yet. You had Evan Turner, Al-Farouq Aminu. So some names, if you're a student of the game and fan of the game, that you're familiar with, but um, not a roster that you truly thought was going to win a championship in much respect, one can say that that team truly overachieved, won to finish top three in the West, but to make it to the Western Conference Finals, where they eventually lost to the Golden State Warriors, who, by the way, were without Kevin Durant. They actually got swept, which was unique in the sense that the Trailblazers had a double-digit lead in all four of the games that they ended up losing. So, I guess because they overachieved, the management thought they did good, wanted to keep the team together. Didn't really do so well after that. I think they made the playoffs, but were an 8 seed in the bubble. Obviously lost. I believe they lost to the Lakers, if I recall correctly. And then the last couple years, one year they ended up trading CJ McCollum at the deadline, which kind of signaled to us, at the very least at the time, that Portland might be looking to break this thing down and that Dame might be on his way out that summer, which was honestly when these discussions of him not being a Trailblazer anymore truly um, started to skyrocket. Trying to get him to South Beach to be with Jimmy Butler and Bam, maybe join the Lakers, AD and LeBron, who were the defending champs at that point in time. There was even some talks that he might join the Pelicans. He might decide to leave Portland and team up with his guy CJ in New Orleans, which I know a lot of people loved. And some people had him going to Boston, some people New York, whatever it may be. But Dame over the years has maintained this stance that I'm going to be loyal, which is not an issue. I want you to hear me out loud. My favorite player of all time is Tim Duncan. He stayed with one franchise for his whole career. Kobe Bryant. I know a lot of Kobe fans, a lot of Lakers fans. stayed with the Lakers all of his career, you know. So we have evidence of guys who have stayed loyal, so to speak. So Dame's not off base there when he says that he wants to stay loyal and not truly, I guess, chase a ring. But where I have had an issue with Dame over the years is that it's okay to decide that you want to stay in Portland. But even Stevie Wonder can see that Portland is not building a contender around you. And so if you choose to stay, if you choose to take the money, if you choose to be on team loyal, I don't believe it's his place or his right to condemn some of his peers who have decided to join up at a better chance at a title. And we're talking about some guys who didn't have titles, like a Chris Paul wanting to go to Phoenix, or even at one point going to Houston to team up with James Harden in the quest for a championship. You have KD and Kyrie, and then James Harden going to Brooklyn to team up with them. I mean, you have AD going to the Lakers, team up with Bron. So not really a super team by any means, but top players joining together. And so Dame has kind of looked at the landscape of the NBA, and he criticizes his peers for them making those decisions. But at the same time, he's saying that, well, I want to win a championship and I want to do this. Well, you know, and I'll get to it in a second as part of my overall point, but there's a reason why that can come to bite you in the behind. And so I kind of set the table for that. And I also wanted to set my admiration and respect for Damian Lillard up, because I truly mean no disrespect, but Dame is a little delusional. And I want to break down the pillars of why I believe he's delusional. So I kind of alluded to it a little bit, where this notion that Portland is going to build a contender around you. Dame has been a Portland Trailblazer since 2012. That was his rookie season. So we're going up on 11 years as a Portland Trailblazer. He's going to be 33. I think he's already turned 33, but I know he's going to be 33 this year, I believe. When have they truly put a team where you said, ooh, Portland, they're one of them ones this year. They're going to give insert Western Conference power a run for their money? When have we said that? We're being honest with ourselves. We haven't really said that over the years since Dame has been the guy. You know, when he came in, it was LaMarcus Aldridge, it was Nicholas Batum, it was Wes Matthews, and he was the new kid on the block. But it quickly became his team, and since it's been his team, his franchise, he's the face. Portland hasn't consistently done enough. Even talking about the team that made it to the Western Conference Finals, they got swept. When you get swept, the mindset should be, okay, what is the missing piece that we need to bring in to get us over the hump? Well, Portland really tried to get the missing piece to get them over the hump. They actually essentially tried to run it back, which is not what winning organizations do, especially when they lose in embarrassing fashion. They obviously know that there is a deficit. There's a need somewhere that needs to be filled. And Portland didn't do that. And we have these conversations over the past 2 or 3 years where it's, we're trying to build a contender around Dame. We're trying to build a contender around Dame. Well, you end up in the lottery. You don't move those picks to try to pry star players away from their respective teams, which is a possibility. We see the player movement going on. We're seeing guys who have already signed contract extensions, and a year in, or even right before that extension kicks in, are looking for a new home and trying to force their way out from where they are. So what is Portland doing? It's almost as if they're like Danny Ainge with the picks and hoarding. If you have these lottery picks, you know there are teams that are looking to move up, and they're trying to part with a star player. There's a star player that's trying to part with them, and that team just wants to get some fair compensation. Why aren't we moving some of these picks to get some star players around Dame? And not to say that some of the players aren't good. I mean, you got Nasir Little, but when's the last time we ever heard of him? You got Shadon Sharp last year, who's a rising star. You had Anthony Simons, who's a rising star. You have Scoot Henderson now. But what good does that do for Damian Lillard? All I see now is pretty much four guards. Four guards, three of which are young and up-and-comers. And it sounds to me like there's an odd man out. But when Dame continues to say, I want to win in Portland, I want to win a championship in Portland, and the Trailblazers are saying we're going to build a contender around Dame, well, at some point, your words and your actions have to line up. And all it sounds to me is that Dame wants the money. Portland wants to continue to pay him the money so they can be relevant as a franchise and a small market team. So having a superstar helps with the branding and getting eyes on your team. And so it's a win-win relationship for them. But what's not winning is there are no championships being won with this pairing. And so my first thing is that why I say Dame is delusional is this mindset that Portland is going to build a contender around him. Dude, you're 33. How many chances will you give them? And keep in mind, it's not as if, you were in your prime, so to speak, year 4, year 5, trying to jump from team to team. That's not what you've done. That's not who you are, Dame. I truly believe that. But how much longer are you going to allow Portland to waste away your career? Is the money that important? Is it the being a big fish in the small pond? Is it that important to where you truly don't want to pursue a championship? Because I know I feel that way, but I think a lot of fans of the game feel that way, that both you and the team are just talk. You tell us one thing, but your actions are doing another thing. So reason number one why Dame is delusional in my eyes is the belief that Portland will do something that they have never done in his career. Build a contender around him as the best player. Second thing, this delusion that you can't move. You can't move now. And in some respects, let's be honest with ourselves, Dame has put his foot in his mouth. Here's why. When you go around criticizing players for teaming up and trying to give them a good chance at winning, guess who doesn't want to play with you? So when Portland does want to try to get the Bradley Bills, the Jimmy Butlers, the Kevin Durants of the world, they remember what you said. They remember that you called them less than, that they were taking the easy way out. So now they are supposed to join you. Is that not taking the easy way out if they join you in the quest to bring a championship to Portland? So you can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't take this stance that everybody around you, all the stars around you, are doing it the wrong way. But then you're looking at Portland saying, build me a contender with what? The draft picks? When's the last time you saw a team that wasn't developed where a rookie or a first or second year player comes in and it's just dynamite and they're taking over and you're competing for championships? Got to go to Boston for that? Boston was already a 50-win team when Jason Tatum was the 3rd overall pick. So, can't really use them as an example. So what exactly does building a contender look like? Because the star players that could help in your quest to win a championship, you've run them off with your self-righteousness. And because of your self-righteousness, you're stuck between a rock and a hard place because, one, the stars won't come to you. And if you go to the stars, guess what? I already know what it is. You feel like people are going to talk. They're going to say you reneging on your word. But guess what? A man can accept that, hey, that was me 6 years ago in my prime, and I'm seeing guys. I'm 33. I'm 34. It's different. But you got to be willing to have that conversation. But I understand. You don't want to have that conversation. You're afraid to have that conversation. You don't want to be the bad guy. But guess what? Bad guys win in this league. The people that are hated, the people that fans have some disdain for, they win in this league. But not only do they win, there are some people that love that. There are some people that can fall in love with the I don't give a damn attitude. I will win at all costs. And Dame, you're going to have to man up and accept that, hey, what I said yesterday doesn't necessarily apply to today. Because I was with you. No, Dame doesn't have to leave. Why does he have to leave? Portland needs to do something. They have the resources. But the thing was, you kept flapping your gums about your peers in this league. And so when they had the opportunity, the same way James Harden decided to go to Brooklyn to pair with Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, he could have made that decision to come to you. Russell Westbrook could have made that decision to come to you. LeBron could have made a decision to come to you. Jimmy Butler could have made that decision to come to you, but they didn't. You have to start to ask yourself, why? What started this? And I'll tell you, you. You couldn't just operate in silence. Let them do what they do, and you do what you do. And you may not like it, but it might not necessarily be your place to speak on what another player is going to do, because it's going to come a time, and Dame time, it's your time where you're stuck between the crossroad of they're not going to come to me based off of what I said. And so if they're not going to come to you, you got to swallow that pride. You have to make sure you communicate that things you said 4 or 5 years ago when you were in your 20s, it doesn't apply to someone who has given over a decade to the Portland Trail Blazers. You've done all you can do. And what I mean by that is it's okay to go now. Think about it. Think about the players recently that have gone. Did James Harden truly get any backlash for leaving Houston? No, because they went deep and deep and deep in the playoffs. He gave them their all. He was one of the most prolific scorers in his game, one of the most prolific passers, just players in general in his game. The only thing he did wrong was have to run up against a super team in Golden State. That's just what it was. And so when he decided that, hey, I want out, yeah, he got a little backlash for, not showing the camp in shape, but he still had a level of grace because of what he had given to that organization. I'll even use Anthony Davis. I know that the relationship between him and the New Orleans Pelicans fan base is a little bit sour now, but if I take you back initially when he demanded the trade at the beginning of the season, more Pelicans fans were appreciative of that mindset of, hey, he's given so much to this organization. We want him to be happy. We want him to go somewhere where he can truly win, because this front office led by Dell Demps, they've done truly nothing of note to put help around him, and he's tried to make a lot with a little. It's time for him to go. But where he fucked up really was how he exited when he didn't get his way, when Pelicans had other trades in mind, but he wanted to go to LA. So he started doing some crazy stuff. He started, not playing games or having a bad finger or the That's All Folks shirt. But that's not you, Dame. You can leave Portland now and it will be fine. Nobody's going to hate you for it, especially understanding where you are at this point in your career. Over a decade in, you got more years behind you than you got ahead of you. So the clock is ticking. So are we going to keep playing this dance of, well, I'm going to stay in Portland. I'm going to be team loyal, team grind. I'm going to get it out the mud. Guess what? All these teams and these players that you're talking about got it out the mud. The Kobe's, the Dirks, the Duncans, the Jordans, the Magics. Guess what? Their front office did their jobs. They did their jobs. They drafted well. They signed well. And guess what? The superstars on those teams kept their damn mouth shut. They didn't talk about their peers in the league. If Jordan had flapped his gums all the time about a Dennis Rodman. Does Dennis Rodman come to the 96 Bulls and help them against the physicality of the up-and-coming Orlando Magic with Shaq? No, he doesn't. Like, you have to understand that you can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't want players to come to you and have a chance at winning. Like, yes, this is your team, but guess what? These players that are moving, they're going to somebody else's team too. And they're humbling themselves because guess what? That championship is more important than someone's feelings about how they got it. It really doesn't matter how you got the championship because guess what? 30, 40 years from now, all they're going to see is that person has a title. And that could be you, but you'd rather take this woe is me approach that, look, trust me, that sympathy is about to wear thin. Because we know, like we see it, you're not doing everything you can to win a championship. And that doesn't mean you're not perfecting your game. That doesn't mean that you individually aren't trying, but the team is showing you that they aren't willing to do it. So either you about to put their feet to the fire or you got to go. But when you just sit back and try to play us for fools, as if we truly, and as if you truly believe Portland is a championship contender? Come on, man, be serious. It's delusional. It really is. It really is. And here's the last thing, and here's the last thing, and why I say Dame is delusional in all this. Dame is operating in a sense that Portland will be as loyal to him as he has been to Portland. And that's not the case. That's not how this business works. You know this firsthand. If we want to be honest with ourselves, if you want to be honest with yourself, the reason why Portland hasn't moved you yet, it isn't because you mean so much to them. It isn't because they believe they can win the championship with you. It's because they haven't gotten the right price yet. That's the truth of the matter. You are an asset. And when they have a price that they like, they will move you. Anthony Simons is on the come up. Shadon Sharpe is on the come up. And I'm telling you right now, Scoot Henderson is on the come up and he ain't playing second fiddle to nobody. So you have an opportunity. Now, if you think those guys are going to kind of help improve the team to a point where you can be kind of the old man and you know, closing the deal out, kind of how what CJ's supposed to be in New Orleans, sure, that's fine. If you truly believe that, but I'm here to tell you that's a delusion. That's not going to happen. And so before you get all old and tired out and your trade value is crap, Portland is going to move you. Unless you decide to just retire a little early, but I think you want to play another 4 or 5 more years. You still got the shooting touch. You can do it. So when the inevitable happens, because if you still want to play this game, it's not a matter of if, but when Portland decides to give Scoot and Anthony and Shadon the reins and you are the odd man out, what do you think the reaction is going to be? I know what you think the reaction is going to be. It's really a rhetorical question. Do you think we're going to say, oh, poor Dame, he gave his all to Portland, they just did him so bad. He was trying to be loyal to them, and they wouldn't be loyal to him? No, we won't say that because, one, we're not idiots. We're not delusional. We have seen this coming from a mile away. You are the only one who is refusing to see what is right in front of you, what the reality of the situation is. Either you get out or they will get you out. And I can tell you right now, if you get out, you have a much better chance of getting the sympathy vote of the American public, of basketball media, fans, casual fans, whoever. You have a much better chance because, one, you're in your 30s, you got more time behind you than you got in front of you. It's time to win the championship or at least be in a position to compete for a championship. That is not happening in a Portland Trailblazers jersey. That dream was 5 years ago. You missed out on your chance. You had KD hurt. You had Steph banged up. You had Clay banged up, and you blew 4 leads. You got swept. That's over. CJ's gone. Nurk isn't the same guy. Gary Trent Jr. is in Toronto. Anthony wants your spot. Devin Turner's doing podcasts. I hadn't even heard of Mo and Al Farouk. You know where they are? If you do, let me know, because I haven't heard from them in a long time. Zach Collins is a Spur. Those guys are gone. You're not getting that magic in the bottle season. You're closer to the team that got beat up by Jrue Holiday and Anthony Davis than you are the team that made it to the Western Conference Finals the next year that got swept. I'm telling you right now, it's what it is. Now, if you want to operate in the delusion that you guys are better and you can get that back, well, be my guest. But guess what? You're going to be an old man on a team going nowhere, because guess what? Portland is going to get the best deal for them, not you. So if that means sending you to a rebuilding Toronto or a rebuilding Charlotte or a rebuilding whatever it is, that's what they're going to do. Whoever is the highest bidder, they are going to get the services of Damian Lillard. And the only person getting screwed in this scenario is you. And you're not going to get any sympathy from anyone, because you've had ample amount of opportunities to get the hell out of Portland. So that poses the question. Do you want to remain ignorant to it, remain delusional? I know they say ignorance is bliss. If you love being a big fish in a small pond, nothing's wrong with that. Bradley Beal was okay with that for a little bit, but I think he started to get the picture and he said, I need to at least try to compete for a title. Try. Yeah, he joined a super team. I think it's an obsolete model. I do. I'm not saying you need to join a super team, but there are teams where they just have a star and they just beat somebody else. Philly's won. Miami's won. I'd argue New Orleans is a place. I'd love you for my San Antonio Spurs, but to be quite honest with you, I don't think we can give you what you need right now at this stage in your career. I think the Knicks could be good for you. I think the Clippers could be good. I think the Lakers could be good. There are a bunch of teams. Hell, the Suns can find a way to get you to Phoenix. I don't know how, but I sure as hell don't know how they got Bradley Beal either. So miracles can happen. Boston can come and get you. There are options for you, Dame. But it's on you to decide to take them. But guess what? The option you have been choosing over the past couple of years, it ain't going to get you far. It's going to get you forgotten, is what it's going to get. And I don't mean people are going to just forget totally what Damian Lillard is, what he meant to the game. That's impossible. You mean a lot to the game. One of the best point guards in the history of the game, one of the best shooters in the history of the game. One of the most clutch players in the history of the game. But when we stack you up against your peers, the Stephs, the Kyries, even the Russes of the world, all you're going to have to your name is that you stayed loyal and ringless. Maybe your jersey says 0, but I'm pretty sure you don't want that trophy closet continuing to be bare. So you're faced with a decision here. And obviously, you're not going to listen to little old me. Listen to you. You know what it is. You've seen it. You're in that organization every single day. You're in that building every single day. Look at the guys on the left, the guys on the right, in the front of you. Do you really think that's a winner? And don't give me the athlete answer. Don't give me the alpha male, the ultimate competitor answer. Give me the honest truth. When you look at what's in the building, you know that's not a winner. When you look at what's in that front office and their capabilities, you know that's not a winner. When you think about and assess the corner you put yourself in by ostracizing your peers, you know nothing's happening in Portland. You have to move on. And it doesn't have to be a nasty divorce. You've given a decade to them. You don't have to come to camp and be out of shape. You don't have to say, I'm not going to play games. You can just say, hey, I gave y'all everything. You know I gave you everything. But at this point in time, I need a title. That's what I want. I've made the money. I've got individual accolades. I want to win. And if you've ever cared about me, you'd want me to have that opportunity. That's the choice that you're faced with. Go do your best what the time you have left as an athlete to get a ring. And not saying you got to go join a super team, but you can leave. You don't have to, just because you leave Portland doesn't mean you're running away, you're less than, you're trying to team up. No, you're just looking for a new start. That's okay. But you know what's also okay? Staying where you are, being a vet, helping Scoop reach his stardom. He's a top 3 pick, lottery pick. He's going to have expectations. Helping Anthony climb into superstardom. I mean, he's there. We've seen it. The guy's almost there. Get him to that next level. Get him to your level, if not better. That Shaydown year 2, no such thing as a sophomore slump. So you can stay there. You can be that good vet. You guys can even make the playoffs. You know, make a 6-7 seed and have a good first round matchup, whatever it may be. But in doing that, you gotta shut the hell up, man. We're tired of going through this every offseason. We're tired of the side interviews that you're criticizing your peers in the league for honestly having the balls to do what you refuse to do. And that's get a title by any means necessary. You wipe the money away. You wipe the accolades, the individual accolades away. The stars are going to tell you. They want to win. They want to win a ring. They want to be in that hall of immortals. There's not a lot of people that can say that they've won an NBA title. And you could be one of them. You could at least increase your chances at being one of them. But instead, won't be little old Dame, poor little Dame in Portland. And that's okay. We're just tired of hearing about it. Well, so that was my piece. Like I said, it's all respect, it's all love. It might come off as brash, but that's because I have that high level of respect for a player that I believe is wasting the rest of a great career away. But it's not my decision. It's not anyone else's decision but his. And whatever he decides to do, he'll do. And history from there will dictate how we remember him. So it is what it is. Now, if I offended anybody, that's a good thing. It's an opportunity for me to learn. It's an opportunity for you to teach me. All I ask is that you keep it respectful. Peace.